Welcome back to Global Glimpse, your trusted voice for in-depth reporting on law, government, and U.S. politics. Today we turn to a historic political shift that's capturing the nation's attention. The stunning victory of progressive Democrat Zohran Mamdani, who has just been elected the new mayor of New York City, defeating former governor Andrew Cuomo in one of the most closely watched municipal races in modern American history. In a powerful victory speech titled, "New York will be the light," Mamdani promised to defend the city's working class and took direct aim at President Donald Trump, who just days earlier had threatened to withhold federal funding if Mamdani were elected. Standing before thousands of supporters in Queens, Mamdani declared, "New York will not bow to threats. We will be the light for the working class, for immigrants, and for every person who believes that dignity cannot be negotiated," his words echoing through the streets of a jubilant city immediately positioned him as both a local leader and a national voice of defiance against what many see as growing federal overreach. The election marks a watershed moment for America's progressive movement, the first time in decades that a self-identified democratic socialist has taken control of New York City Hall, a political seat often seen as a stepping stone to national prominence. Mamdani's victory comes after months of political tension fueled by President Trump's explicit warning that a Mamdani administration could lead to reduced federal aid. The president had referred to Mamdani as a communist and stated that if he won, New York should expect only the bare minimum of federal support. The remarks, widely condemned by both Democrats and some moderate Republicans, were viewed as an unprecedented use of presidential rhetoric to influence a city election. Instead of derailing Mamdani's campaign, however, the comments energized his supporters, transforming what had been a tight race into a grassroots uprising powered by teachers, union workers, and young voters across the 5 boroughs. Voter turnout soared in traditionally low-engagement districts like the Bronx and Queens, signaling a shift in New York's political heartbeat. The result is not just a win for Mamdani, but a direct rebuke to Washington's attempt to wield financial pressure as political leverage. In his speech, Mamdani emphasized that his administration will prioritize affordable housing, workers' rights, and expanding access to public services. He vowed to protect those who make this city run, the delivery drivers, nurses, subway operators, and educators, who he said have been left behind by the politics of wealth and fear. He also addressed the ongoing federal government shutdown, now more than 30 days long, which has left millions of Americans struggling without paychecks or benefits. While Washington closes its doors, he said, New York will keep its lights on. We will stand with workers, not with power. The statement drew thunderous applause and underscored his message that local governance can still serve as a refuge from national dysfunction. Political analysts are already calling Mamdani's win a pivotal moment in the realignment of American urban politics. His campaign, inspired by the energy of movements like Occupy Wall Street and Black Lives Matter, represents a continuation of progressive momentum that first gained traction under figures like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders. But while his message is idealistic, the challenges ahead are immense. New York faces rising housing costs, migrant influx pressures, and infrastructure decay problems that require not only city-level reforms, but federal collaboration. Whether Trump's administration will cooperate with a mayor who openly defied him remains to be seen. Historically, federal retaliation against local governments has led to legal showdowns. Experts predict that if funding cuts are attempted, New York could challenge them in court on constitutional grounds, citing the 10th Amendment and equal protection clauses. On the streets, reaction to Mamdani's victory has been electric. Outside City Hall, thousands gathered waving signs reading "New York for All" and "We are the light," chanting in multiple languages as fireworks lit the sky. Immigrant groups hailed the win as a sign that diverse communities finally have a voice and power. "He understands what it means to struggle," said one volunteer from Jackson Heights, and that's why we trust him. Meanwhile, Trump supporters in the city called the result a disaster for business, warning that Mamdani's policies could drive investors away and worsen the city's economic outlook. Financial analysts note that his proposals for rent control, higher minimum wages, and public banking will face intense scrutiny from both Wall Street and the city council. His supporters argue that the city's survival depends not on protecting corporate interests, but on empowering its people. The symbolic impact of Mamdani's speech directly addressing Trump by name cannot be overstated. To the president, he said, "I say this, you may control the funding, but you do not control our future." That line has already gone viral across social media, being shared by millions as a rallying cry for progressive movements nationwide. Within hours of the victory, messages of congratulations poured in from lawmakers across the country. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called Mamdani's win a revolution born in the boroughs, while Senator Elizabeth Warren described it as a beacon for every city that refuses to be silenced by threats. Even international outlets are framing the election as a test of how far the U.S. political system can stretch under growing polarization. Looking ahead, Mamdani faces immediate tests, navigating a divided city council, negotiating with federal agencies amid the shutdown, and proving that progressive ideals can translate into practical governance. Supporters expect him to move swiftly on his promises, including freezing evictions, expanding homeless housing, and cutting police budgets in favor of community services. His inauguration, scheduled for early January, is already being dubbed a people's swearing-in, expected to draw one of the largest public turnouts in city history. Whether his administration can deliver will shape not just New York's future, but perhaps the trajectory of national politics in 2026 and beyond. As the night settled over a celebrating New York, one thing became clear. This election wasn't just about one city. It was about what kind of America people want to live in. A city that refuses to bow to threats, a people who demand fairness, and a leader who promises light in the face of pressure. For millions watching across the country, Zohran Mamdani's victory represents more than a political milestone. It's a statement that democracy, when fueled by conviction, can still surprise the powerful. And that's the story shaping America tonight. You're watching Global Glimpse, where we bring you the stories that define law, government, and democracy in motion. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on tomorrow's headlines. This has been Global Glimpse, where every story finds its depth and every voice finds its light.